Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, or depending where you are joining us in the world. And welcome to this week's live stream where I cover the latest news updates, the latest Twitter highlights, market watch, as well as adoption highlights. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me. And massive thank you for all the people that came to our event on Saturday. We had our first all-day, full-day workshop on Saturday where we went through the history and the future of money. We went through what is cryptocurrency is. We also help people fund and start their first DeFi wallet. So it was a very exciting day, very eventful, very impactful day, and jam-packed with a lot of information. I want to thank everyone that joined us. And if you haven't joined us, you're thinking about it, I've got the future of money running down here. Make sure you sign up for it. We've got the next one coming up on the 3rd of August. So make sure you sign up for that. As always, we bring a lot of great information. And if you are watching us on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of these updates and any of the videos that we continuously do. So I would love to see you joining us there on YouTube. All right. So today we have a lot of information to go through and a lot of great news that's coming out. Even though we've had the SEC cracking down on Coinbase and Binance, there's been a lot of changes happening. We've had BlackRock actually last week apply for an ETF, a Bitcoin ETF, which is great, big news. If BlackRock gets this ETF approved, it's going to open up a floodgate for other Bitcoin ETFs. I will talk a little bit about what I think about ETFs in a few moments, what my personal opinion are. But without any further ado, let's get started and go straight into today's news updates. So first up, we've got Bitcoin reaches 50% market dominance for the first time in 2 years. So BlackRock's Spot ETF filing and the Securities and Exchange Commission crackdown on crypto are driving investors towards Bitcoin. So what they're saying in this article is the Bitcoin dominance has gone over 50%, and they settled down around the 49.9% as of June 19th, which is yesterday, 6 p.m. UTC. This means that Bitcoin alone accounts for half of the crypto's total $1.1 trillion market capitalization. Bitcoin's current market cap is around $519 billion, according to data from CoinGecko. Bitcoin's market dominance has surged more than 10.5% since November 27, 2022. An increase driven in large part by investors looking to the flagship crypto asset as a safe haven in the wake of FTX crisis and amid mounting regulatory scrutiny to crypto assets in the United States. Basically, what they're saying is because the SEC is cracking down on crypto, as we're seeing with Binance, with Coinbase, they put out a report quoting like 50 different tokens or whatever it was that they consider those to be securities. So there's a big, massive crackdown by the SEC, and then you've got BlackRock filing for a Bitcoin-only ETF. This is driving a lot of people towards Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the only one that has been recognized by the SEC to be a commodity. Michael Saylor went on an interview, and he spoke about this. He's saying that the whole lack of regulation is stopping people from investing, and it's becoming, because of everything that's happening with crypto, it's becoming there's confusion and anxiety by institutional investors, and they're not ready to invest. However, because of what's happening with the other crypto exchanges and BlackRock ETF, a lot of people start to come towards Bitcoin because they see it as a safe haven. The entire industry is destined to be rationalized down to a Bitcoin-focused industry with maybe half a dozen to a dozen of other proof-of-work tokens. So the main thing here is around the proof of work and the proof of stake. The SEC claims that if it is a proof of stake, then that means when people buy it, they're expecting a return. Plus, it doesn't fit the Howey test and so forth. However, because Bitcoin is proof of work, okay, there was no pre-minting, there was no tokens that were issued in the beginning, and therefore Bitcoin is a true commodity, and people just buy that commodity. They can't purchase it before it was launched. Next up, guys, we've got Coinbase blast SEC for no straight answers following court order. So the comment from the crypto exchange came after the SEC asked for more time to respond to Coinbase rulemaking petition. So Coinbase put in a letter asking for put in a petition with the courts asking for clarity from the SEC. The SEC has turned around and asked for more time, asking for another 120 days regarding the to come back with answers to Coinbase petitions. Coinbase then came back. We couldn't wait until our deadline next week to address the SEC's response to the June 6th order from the Third Circuit. It's unusual for the government to defy a direct question from a federal court, but the SEC's evasive response goes further, as we set out today. So basically, the SEC is avoiding the direct questions and giving direct answers to what's happening, and because of that, it's obviously causing a lot of uncertainty in the market. And Coinbase is just going hard against the SEC. They have in the past few years they have sued the Ripple or XRP. They've also sued Coinbase. They've also sued Binance. However, last year when everything was happening with the FTX debacle, there was no major action by the SEC. So interesting to see what they're actually doing, what game they're playing. I personally obviously don't trust the SEC. They're a big bad wolf when it comes to crypto, and they're trying to damage the industry, because as you'll see in another article I'm going to speak about today, crypto and Bitcoin is a direct threat to the control system of CBDCs. Next up, we've got Fidelity Investments to file a spot Bitcoin ETF days after BlackRock. So Fidelity have in the past filed for a Bitcoin ETF, and they didn't get it. And the reason for that is the SEC kept rejecting it, saying they need more information, blah, 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 blah. But now that BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset manager, and they have over like $10 trillion worth of assets under management, has filed for Bitcoin ETF, and the Fidelity is the world's third largest asset manager, and they really focus on digital assets. They also now looking at filing for an ETF, Bitcoin-only ETF. So since BlackRock actually applied for a Bitcoin ETF, the price of Bitcoin has surged from $25,000 to $26,000. So it's still at a bargain price, if you ask me. And the fact that BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, and if you don't know anything about BlackRock, I would highly, highly recommend you look them up. They're the world's largest company. They own pretty much anything, everything and anything they can think of. They've got a piece of the pie in almost every major publicly traded company. Now they're turning their eyes over to Bitcoin. Now, if BlackRock does get an ETF, it will be good news for the short term for Bitcoin, because it will drive a lot of money towards it. The bad news is, because people who buy an ETF don't actually have direct access, or don't have direct custody of Bitcoin, is through the ETF. Okay, it means that companies like BlackRock can actually manipulate the market. So it is a double-edged sword. I mean, we want institutional investors to come into this space because it will validate the space even more. However, we want them to have self-custody, which is the ethos of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is about having self-custody. It's about having sovereignty over your own wealth, and about being in control. Buying Bitcoin through an ETF doesn't give you that control. It allows the company that you bought the Bitcoin from to actually have that control. So that's my 2 cents when it comes to Bitcoin ETFs. They are a double-edged sword. Now, guys, if you haven't registered for the Future of Money, I do have it running down the bottom of this screen. Please go to this website and register. This is, if you use money and you want to understand where the world is going with money and how it's going to affect the way you live, you need to come to this event. This event is very important for every single person that uses money. So if you're using money, you need to be watching this and learning this information. All right, let's look at the market update and look at the market watch. So what we're seeing here over the past week, we've got a sea of even red and green. We've got some tokens that have been on the rise, while others like XRP, ADA, XLM. These are the tokens that were identified by the SEC as securities. They've had a downturn. Now, when we look at the crypto heat map or the crypto the Coin 360, we see that Bitcoin is up 1.4% over the past 24 hours. Its dominance right now is 47.75%. So it has lost some of the dominance from the article that was written yesterday, but it's still the strongest crypto and will always be the king crypto, in my opinion. Ethereum has had a 0.33% rise. BNB is still plummeting, so is XRP, because of all the FUD and all the information that's coming out of SEC. Is scaring people away from all these other cryptos. Now, if we look at the the fear and greed index, I should say, we're still at 49%, surprisingly. With everything that's happening, I would have expected the fear to be max or going down more towards fear, but the market seems to be quite neutral. I think people start to understand that the SEC and all this FUD that's happening is always just white noise. At the end of the day, you want to ignore that and you just want to focus on what you're building, because the long-term prospects of Bitcoin and crypto is enormous, and people are going to kick themselves one day for not getting involved early. All right. Let's move over to, we've got some comments here. Nope, I thought I had a comment. I don't have a comment, guys. If you do have any comments, put them in the chat. Reply back to this post, and I will definitely reply back to this stream, and I'll definitely answer your questions if I can live on the stream. All right, moving over to the Twitter highlights. We've got CZ saying that although we maintain that the SEC's request for emergency relief was entirely unwarranted, we are pleased that disagreement over this request was resolved on mutually acceptable terms. User funds have been and always will be safe and secure on Binance affiliate platform. So basically, what we're seeing here is that CZ's come out and said that regardless of what's happened with it, or regardless of basically saying that what the SEC had done was wrong, but they have come to an agreement and they are proving that the Binance assets or the user assets are safe on Binance. Now, look, guys, I don't have anything against Binance. I actually like him as an exchange. I think CZ is doing a lot of great work for the crypto industry. It's an exchange I personally use. They are the biggest exchange in the world. However, as I always say, you always want to, like I've said in the past and say again, exchanges are like public toilets. You want to go in, do your business, and you want to get out. You don't loiter around. You don't leave any valuables in there. So you go in, you buy your crypto, and you send it to a private wallet, whether it's a hardware wallet or a software wallet, but a wallet that you have control over and you own the keys. That's the only way to completely protect your crypto without anybody having third-party counter risk to it. If you have on exchange, if something goes wrong with the exchange, then you can potentially lose your crypto, as we've seen happen over and over and over again with like FTX and the like. Next up, and I said to you guys, we're going to see why governments around the world, especially Western governments, are working really hard to try and discredit crypto and put a lot of FUD out there. What you can see here is IMF initiates development of a global digital currency. So this is a tweet by Watcher.guru. I really like these guys. They have some really cool news. So according to this article, even though cryptocurrencies don't receive the warmest welcome globally, CBDCs are flourishing. Now, if you have been to our event and the future of money, you'll understand the dangers of CBDCs and what it can cause. CBDCs have received increased attention in the recent months. Global regulators and policymakers have dedicated their effort to exploring and evaluating this emerging technology. Now, according to the last reports, the International Monetary Fund is developing a platform for central bank digital currencies. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva stated that the IMF is developing a platform to facilitate easier transactions between countries. And basically, I'm not going to read the whole article, but basically at the end here, she also stressed the necessity of CBDCs. Oh, hang on, no, not here. There we go. Aiming to enable global interoperability, she suggests that the absence of such agreement could potentially lead to a void that may be occupied by cryptocurrencies. So they're basically saying it right here, guys. They see that cryptocurrencies is a threat to CBDCs. They understand that cryptocurrencies is a technology of freedom, but they want people to not use it. This is why there's so much FUD out there. This is why all the news out there is so negative. This is why banks are trying to block payments or transfers. Like in Australia, we've got banks who are limiting cash withdrawals. We've got banks who are now also limiting or stopping withdrawals from a bank account to a crypto exchange. All of these things are hindering the progress of crypto because they understand that it is a direct threat to their CBDC agenda, which is a total control tool. We've spoken about CBDCs in the past. We'll speak about them again. They are a tool for slavery. They are a tool for control. They will be able to program your money, tell you where to spend it, how to spend it, when to spend it, how much you can spend. They will lock you out of the system if they don't like you. It is a total tool for slavery. And then one of the big reasons why we do what we do here at Breakout Solutions, which is educate people about what's happening with the money in the world, because you need to know this information to protect yourself. I'll do one more plug because I can. Make sure you go to the Future of Money URL that's on the screen right now and register for this event on the 3rd of August. I know it's early, but we'll keep you guys updated. But go and register because you don't want to miss this event. All right, next up we have, next Twitter highlight we have from Dennis Potter. And he says they threw every possible type of FUD at Bitcoin. It is for terrorists, destroying the planet, cybercrime, North Korea, 30% tax, anti-mining policy, executive orders. And after all of that, BlackRock still has to pay $25,000 plus for a whole coin. So we've been saying this for a long, long time. They're trying to suppress the price of Bitcoin. They're trying to keep it down because they want to get in. So Mike Alford came back and said they are definitely getting a discount. Bitcoin should be $40,000 right now. Another guy, he said, Dennis Potter goes, no, it should be $70,000. So this is what the experts are saying about Bitcoin. It should actually, right now, the price of Bitcoin is very, very undervalued. And I believe that. I agree with it. It's very, very undervalued. There will come a day where people will say, I wish I bought Bitcoin under $30,000. That day may never come again. Once we get to the next bull run and go to the next bear market, it may never ever come down to this price. And people are going to say, I wish I bought back then. So now is the time to be doing this, to be getting in, guys. All right, wrapping up with our adoption highlights. And this is pretty big news happening here. I actually really like this article. Last week, I reported about the central bank in Hong Kong pressuring the commercial banks to take on digital asset firms as clients. So allow for things like digital asset service providers like Binance, like exchanges, to actually become clients of the banks and to allow on-ramps and off-ramps. This is contrary to what's happening in the West. So in the West, they're trying to stop banks from having on-ramps and off-ramps, but in the East, they're pushing people to actually become, or they're pushing banks to become crypto-friendly. Now, the government in Hong Kong has also transformed, is pumping a lot of money into what they call the city's cyberport, which is a digital asset hub. It's a Web3 focused hub where it's focused on AI, fintech, smart living, digital entertainment, esports, blockchain, cybersecurity. All of the tech stuff is happening here in this cyberport in Hong Kong. And they've also had over 150 Web3 businesses apply or come to this hub. So Hong Kong has actually invested 50 million yuan or 6.37 million US dollars into the financial budget to make this a big hub, and it's starting to attract a lot of great talent. If you watch what's happening around the world, you don't need to be a genius. You've got the West, you've got America, who's trying to block crypto because they want to push their agenda of control, their agenda of CBDCs. And then you've got other countries in the East who are now becoming, and we all know what China's stance was on Bitcoin and crypto a couple of years ago. They banned mining, etc. But now they start to change the tune. They realized that by becoming crypto friendly, the same way that El Salvador did, more and more people are going to start coming towards, or more and more talent is going to start coming into Hong Kong and China. So this is, guys, I've said this to our event, like we are in a financial revolution and there's going to be many things that are happening. It's like a war. Any revolution has two sides going to compete to win. And right now we have more than two sides trying to compete to win. And Bitcoin is a contender for what could be the next world reserve currency. So when we see countries like this coming in and bringing and allowing or becoming crypto friendly, they're doing it for a reason, to attract talent coming to the country, because they can then take that talent away from the opposing countries. And that's exactly what Hong Kong and China is doing right now. So far, 1,900 digital technology companies have registered at the Cyberport, including firms such as Atomica Brands, Ethereum software developers behind the MetaMask wallet, as well as other companies that are starting to come into Hong Kong. And as we told you guys in the past, Hong Kong has now approved a license for virtual asset service providers. So exchanges and whatnot can now trade in Hong Kong, which means money will start flowing into Hong Kong, out of China into crypto. And as we come towards the end of this, we've got two more articles. First up, MasterCard steps up its crypto game with a new trademark filing. Despite putting its spread into cryptocurrency realm on hold earlier this year over fears driven by multiple crashes of crypto businesses and growing regulatory scrutiny, MasterCard seems to have resumed its advance in this sector. And they've actually applied for some trademarks for some crypto wallets, crypto software, I should say. And then they're starting, obviously, to come back into the market and starting to progress with their crypto-related ventures. This is all happening at the same time, guys. We're starting to see waves. They go through a wave. There's a lot of FUD. They try and push people out. And then once they do that, they suppress the price. They come in, they buy more. And after they do that, then, we start to see this price goes up. They put in more FUD. It is a wave, guys. It's just continuously going. The best thing you can do as an investor is to basically ignore the noise. It's all noise. Leave it outside. Don't listen to it. And focus on your goals and focus on what you want to do and what you're trying to achieve in this space. All right, last but not least for today, and thank you for everyone for staying with us today, we have XRP Cardano trading given green light in Indonesia. This is coming out of Indonesia, and as you guys know, we were in Bali a couple of weeks ago. There's a massive crypto community in Bali that are growing, but now we can see that the Indonesian government has approved 501 crypto assets to be traded in Indonesia. The main thing here is all of this is traded under what is called BAPIPT, which is the Indonesia's. Hang on, what's it called? Indonesia's Commodity Futures Trading Regulatory Agency, known as BAPIPT. So this is under the Commodity Futures Trading Agency, which is in complete opposite to what's happening in America, where the SEC is saying all the cryptos that the SEC said were securities, Indonesia's come around. They are trading under the Commodity Futures Trading Regulatory Agency, a complete opposite view to what they have in America. And this is, again, going to be a reason to drive more and more investors to go into Indonesia and pour more money into this. This is a game that the East is playing to prop themselves up and to make themselves stronger, because they know that there's such a huge need, there's such a huge desire for crypto and Bitcoin. And the future of it is huge. So they're playing their cards right. Well, we've got Western countries like my country, like the US, like the UK. These countries are making it harder for crypto, and they're going to end up losing over the long term. All right, guys, that's it from me today. That's the news, market watch, Twitter highlights, and adoption highlights. Last thing before I let you guys go, first of all, thank you very much for everyone who's joined me tonight. Please, if you haven't registered for the Future of Money event, please do so now. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and like and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. That's it for me, guys, and I shall see you all on Friday night. Peace out. As I always say, stay crypto.